Hello, everybody. Give me just another minute to get everything set up. And close out some stuff I don't need. Like that, and that, and that. All right. Ta-da! We are back again. Hopefully with my mic working this time. Let me go and grab the what's it. Make sure I am live with all the comments and whatnot. All right, so wait, I gotta pull up my notes as well. So, hello everyone. Today we are going to be making a simple 3D platformer in Unreal Engine 5. My face is broken, so let me try and fix that. I think there we go. All right, so today we are going to be making a simple 3D platformer in Unreal Engine using Omega Game Framework. To your question, Ruben, first of all, thanks for coming. Sorry I butchered your name the first time. But yes, so Omega Game Framework was used in Liberty Bell. And I'm not going to be using the exact code from Liberty Bell because I'm going to be starting from scratch to show like how to get started. But I will be sort of using a similar process. So perhaps I should have those comments on another screen. So that is the main purpose. It's the main purpose of this will be to addresses kind of the fact that Omega Game Framework obviously has not great documentation and only a few videos that show how to use some of its features. So this will is meant to be sort of a go-to video to kind of demonstrate how I would go about using all the features that I made to make a game. So, though, while we are on the topic of documentation, couple things to do. First of all, if you guys want to follow along with this or just on your own time, work on just follow this example. I have here a special release version of Omega, which is essentially just a version of the game that I built and uploaded to GitHub. So this is a build of, sorry, not of the game. This is a the most recent build of the plugin, so that you can download and put in your game, and you don't need to build it yourself. It kind of contains all the up-to-date features that I'll be using today. On top of that, I have started a proper Gitbook page for documentation in Omega. So it's it's very basic stuff. There's not much to it, but because this is associated with GitHub, it'll probably be where documentation will end up from here on out. And I believe there's ways to allow other people to contribute. So if other people use it and want to, this is a suggestion from one of my Discord members whose name escapes me at the moment. I apologize, but this is where documentation will be. The link is in the GitHub as well. So it's not much to it right now, unfortunately, but I'll be filling it out as time goes along. All right, let's go back to the list. All right, Epic Game Store. Quickly, we'll go over this. Getting Omega up has been very difficult. Getting it up to date to the Epic Game Store just because of how the review process works, plus the fact that for efficiency, I only do one version of the plugin at a time, and due to various other reasons, some work related, most work related actually, I haven't really had the time to focus on getting it up to date with the to the marketplace specifications. So that is why it has taken so long to get up to date. Right now, I'm trying to figure the best approach to go about because hey, Ninja Dandle, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, just quickly, I'm trying to figure out the best place to go about that, because I believe the most recent version is still 5.0, which we are now on 5.3 for Unreal. So I'm still planning on obviously going to get the marketplace version updated, but I can't give any promises as to when that'll be. So for that, I apologize, but all the most recent code will be available on GitHub. You just need, after this, you'll need to be building it yourself. And there's a fly in my face. Huh. Anyway, 1 second. All right. Let me get a swig of root beer here. So, all right. For today, as for Ninja, I didn't say Dandel. Of that, I'll call you Dandelion the whole time. How about it like that? I combined the two names together. Just relax, Daniel. Anyway, so yes, as for what we'll be using today, obviously the latest version of Omega Game Framework. We will also be using. I didn't quite pull it up, but the Unreal Engine Hour. I just exposed my desktop, but that's okay. Hour of code. We will be using the Unreal Hour of Code, and I believe there's a similar version of it. It's called like Unreal Learning Kits, but basically we'll be using that character and some of the assets just to get started. For music, we'll be using stuff by... Oh, I didn't have it up. Well, let's go and find it. I click here. All of this is linked in the description, by the way. It could also be... Is my mic sound okay? I know sometimes my mic defaults to the bad thing, so. But I promise I said Daniel. Anyway, for music, we'll be using this Subspace Audio or Juhani Junkala. His music is excellent and is all CCO. So that's what we're going to be using for music. And for UI and sound effects, we'll be using stuff from Kenny, who I imagine most of you know. But he has a bunch of CCO assets for 2D assets, 3D assets, music, and audio to use in your games. So, all that said, why don't we go ahead and get into it? Give me just 1 second. Okay, get rid of that. And... Alright. So, here we are. Blank map. So, first of all, like I said, I got mainly the Hour of Code and Teachers Marketplace, which were the assets from that platformer kit I just showed you. Which is, of course, free, because it's from Epic Games themselves. And I've also put in audio assets, like the music I was talking about, and the... UI audios, just so I didn't have to spend time downloading and putting them in. Alright, so we're going to be making a 3D platformer, like I said, very simple, and specifically using Omega Game Framework. I guess I should say that start with folder structure, the most obvious thing. So I tend to bounce back and forth between two different ways of whether I want to keep all my game content in. I should start with this. Hello, Leaky Bucket. Thank you for coming. Anyway, so to start off with, I typically will have one primary folder, just because if any of you use Unreal, you know, adding in a lot of assets really stacks up your content folder. So I typically have one folder at the top that has all my games, code, and data in it. And honestly, in recent projects, I've actually started moving those to plugins, so they're even more separated. But for this, we'll just stick in the main folder. And my eyes are like broken in the recorder. So 1 second, let me try and fix that as well. What a day we're having, aren't we? I think that'll do. All right, maybe a little up, a little up. Wait. There. Okay. All right. So here we go. I have game for my main folder. This will go. All the code and data will go in here. And to make it easy to find, I always do this 0_ and then whatever title is. In this case, I'll just do game. And I typically try to keep it something like generic like game as well. But the 0 underscore is to make sure that it's always right at the top of the content folder because it sorts alphabetically. So I don't have to go hunting for it. So let's start with, how about a title screen? The first thing anyone's going to see when going into the game. We'll do a title screen and load into the level. So in fact, I'll actually go ahead and make some of the main folders I use. Let's go. We have our map here. We'll go save, names, maps, title screen. So for my folder, game debug. Don't worry about that. I mean, you can do that or not, whatever. All right. So let's get started on that title screen. So in my blueprints folder, I like to keep all the different systems in my games organized into a folder called systems, and specifically sorted by context. So in this case, I will say title screen. And we will start by, and to quickly clarify, most of what I will be doing in this will be stuff that's specific to Unreal Engine. I will be more or less breezing over. Because I want to focus on more the Omega features. So one of those Omega features, for instance, if you wanted to make something like a title screen, you would create a menu. So it. Another thing you might know is in Omega, anything that is Omega specific will have this sort of pinkish red tint to it in the blueprints folder. So let's create a new menu. A menu is a subclass of widget that essentially is a combination of a canvas for the screen as well as a game state. So we'll say menu title screen. And kind of the idea is we're going to contain as much logic as we can in one place. So we'll add an overlay. Let's set that off, maybe 50. Oops, logo. We'll use the Unreal Engine logo. It'll be big and ugly, but we'll use it as a placeholder. All right, let's go ahead and use a common animated widget switcher. Now, Omega Game Framework automatically activates the common widget plugin, or I think it's the common user widget or common UI plugin, whatever. So we'll automatically have access to that. We'll set its transition duration to 2. And let's start with, from the bottom, offset by maybe 50, 100, 200, oops, 300. 250. Press any key to start. Okay. And that's going to be our first state. In fact, let's wrap this with another overlay box. Just so in case we wanted to add more stuff to it, we could. All right, press any key to start. And let's go into here. Say any key. And get index. No. Get index. In fact, we'll just do a switch. How about that? We'll make sure this is not overriding anything. So if we're at 0, then we set index to 1. Pretty familiar stuff so far. And now we start adding some of the unique Omega stuff. So Omega has, well, let's add no overlay first. 1 second. So, another overlay. All right, so one of Omega's many features is this thing here called a data list. And I will put it 250 from the bottom. A data list is a widget that essentially acts similar to, if you are familiar with, I think they're called item lists, or just list. One of these list view items that are built into Unreal. It acts similar, but it is designed in a way I think is easier. Basically, it just repeats a bunch of widgets that would have different instances that would all like function the same but have different data. So a common example, if you had, say, well, I'll show you actually. We'll just look up option. We'll go with the default data widget demo option. There's a lot of these here. We might get into some of these, but we probably don't need to worry about them there. So now just do data widget demo option. Let's set auto size list, and I think we want to make the list vertical. Now let's just go ahead and make sure custom entries is added, because you can do assets here, but for now we're going to have custom entries. And let's go ahead and add 3. And what you can see right here is it's added these options here. So let's say new game. And I forgot that 0 is there, and it needs to be removed. Our 3 options will be new game, load game, and it'll be type load. Let's move that from the bottom, maybe 150. And quit game. And we can go ahead and actually, no, yeah. For now, we'll keep it this way. So we can go ahead and add in the display names for these options, as well as a label, which we'll use in a second, as well as a description, though there's no description on these, so we won't worry about it. Now we've added in custom entries. We can also add in data assets as entries. For example, there's a ton of different data assets here. We can add in, and it will use a certain interface to determine what their name and description and things like that would be. But for now, we won't worry about that. We're going to use custom entries. All right. Now, I'm also not going to worry about controller support right now, because that'll take too long. So let me grab, make sure the data lister is a variable. Now, in here we'll say on entry selected, because each one of these is an entry in the list. So remember before how it showed the label? Well, we're going to say when an entry is selected, what we want to do. Based on its label, because that'll be the easiest way. So remember we had new, load, and quit. Quit game, obviously. And we'll get to the other two in a second, but first I want to test and make sure the title screen is actually opening up right. So we have our title screen here. Now I could go ahead and set up the title screen, like the code for it, but before I do that, I actually want to go ahead and do something else. We're going to drop a pawn in here, or a few other things. Pawn in here, and we're going to add a camera to them. Because we want this to be where rather than creating a new game mode, I want this to be just wherever the perspective of our title screen is. So, in fact, I have that hour of code stuff here, don't I? Let me see about go ahead and adding some static meshes. Yeah, some of these in the background. How about that? Oop. And we'll put this here in order to excuse me. I'm going to go make sure things are actually, my stream is actually still connected to YouTube and whatnot. Yeah, it looks like it is. All right. We'll go ahead and add this in. Let's go ahead and delete all these, why don't we? This is a platformer. We'll drop these in the background just very quickly. Don't want to take up too much time doing this. And there we go. All right. Let's also make sure this has auto possess player 1. Good. There you go. We got our camera. It's also, I'm going to turn on anti-aliasing, because man, those sharp edges are kind of ugly to look at. And there we go. Detach that. So we got our title screen level. We got our title screen here. Now let's have it actually open up. Now, as opposed to the default way in Unreal, where you have to go like construct, is it widget or create widget, and then you'd have to do add to viewport and specify a layer to make sure it doesn't go all over the place, and you might need to do some other stuff. In here, all we got to do to open up the menu is go open menu, and we got it right here. And let's select our menu. Boom. So on this, hey, oh, you didn't see it very well, but there we go. We have our menu, and press any key to start. There we go. Now, a couple things before we go any further. Let me see. Let's minimize that. Okay. Before we go any further, there's a few blueprints we'll want to set up that you'll probably be familiar with. First up, we want a game mode. And we want to derive from Omega game mode because there's a few extra important features. So we'll say GM main. Next up, we'll want to set up our player controller, which obviously we'll be handling basic input. For now, though, I'm just going to go into the Omega game framework content folder. And if you go in here, there's a ton. If you go into the demo folder specifically, you have a ton of starter stuff for all sorts of Omega features. This will be worth looking at on your own time. For now, I just want to take the Omega demo controller, and I am going to copy it here, and we will call it base player. And it's not too complicated. It essentially just has these inputs here that are designed to handle user widget input, pretty much. That's kind of all it is here for, which we'll maybe talk about more a bit later. I don't know if we'll get into that. But basically, what you'll need is these different pre-made inputs, input, interface navigation, input confirm, input cancel, blah, 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 blah. If you want to use controller input on, or some basic keyboard input on widgets, this is the easiest way to do it, and you'll need to get this set up. But for now, I just copied and pasted it because this is good enough. So anyway, back to our game mode. This will be our main game mode, so we'll set that to base player. And now we have widget control, which means if we do this, oops, hang on, a little bit of an issue with the hour of code thing that we will, right, because I deleted that one blueprint. That's okay. And no mouse cursor. Okay, so we have no mouse cursor because we don't have input modes set up. Now, Unreal, does its... If any of you ever used Unreal's input modes, you should know how they work. It's like set input mode, game only, game and UI, UI only, and then you have to set whether you want it to show the mouse cursor or not. Well, in Omega, instead of needing to go through all that process manually, you have custom assets that do it for you. So I have these preset input modes, which I'll jump into. For now, we're going to use the interface input. But let's jump into that and just show you how it works. So you can create new ones of these yourself because they're just data assets. You have Omega input mode. You have, let's see. You have Omega input mode. And you can just derive different input modes from it. I have 3 right now: interface, game, and pawn. In the interface's case, what this can do is you can set a input mode, which is game UI and game and UI, which you should be familiar with if you've used Omega before. You can set the input priority, enable mouse cursor and touch events and stuff, and you can add mapping contexts based on your input, add and remove them, which will work with the enhanced input system. So this way we have the interface. Back up. For this input mode interface, we have the interface input mapping context added, which allows us to use these inputs, which means we will have access to this. We will have access to these inputs now when we open the menu because it activates this. Okay. Sorry, it was a lot of repeated words. Let me get another drink. And let's speed through this because we want to get to making the actual game. So now, actually, let's test it out. Let's go down here, and you have these pre-made interface events set up. Cancel, which I believe cancel is bound to input cancel. That should be a backspace and escape. But for now, we're going to say on input cancel, we're going to do something similar, but we'll say if the menu state is not there, then we're going to set it back to 0. Oops, sorry. So now, if I go into here and hit backspace or escape, interesting, nothing happened. That's odd. Let me make sure it's actually... Oh, that's why. Because it's only going to do it on 0. We want that to be the default event. Hang on. I'm dumb. I haven't set the game mode yet. There we go. Now we'll try it. There we go. And I can hit space or whatever key to go forward, and then I can hit escape or backspace to go backward. Just a demonstration of how to use that. That's not really important. So anyway, let's get to the actual game. So first of all right. So when I hit new game, typically you'd open up a level and start your game. But before I do that, I want to do something else. Get save Omega save subsystem, because the way Omega saves game, Omega has a save system pre-made for it. And the way it works is that at the start of the game, it'll create a save state, basically, and it'll keep that save state until you manually create and start it. Either load or create a new one and then start it. So in this case, whenever we hit new game, we want to basically wipe the slate clean and start over with a new save state. So what we're going to do is say get active save. No, we don't want to do that. We want to say create new game. And this will create a new save game. Now, there are two types of saves in Omega: game saves and global saves. Game saves are basically until you are for that instance of the basically are with a game instance. They're with that instance of the game. So when you start up a new game, you'll start a new save. You can load in previously created saves. These are typical save games, basically. Then you have global saves, and global saves are from the first time you start the game up until you delete the game from your computer, or delete the save from your computer. So it is persistent throughout the entire time the game exists on your system. And that's where you would store things like achievements, or whether you've unlocked New Game Plus, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we're going to create a new game, and then we are going to start the game. And as you see here, we can actually load a saved level or run some tags through. We're not going to worry about that now. We're just going to create and start a new game. Pardon me. A bit congested today. We're 30 minutes in, so I got to set this up. All right, so now let's make a new first level. Let's go ahead and, yeah. Let's make it a new level. I'm going to make it an empty level because I want to show you something commonly that I do when making games. What we're going to do is say levels, and we will say level 0. Normally you'd go in and you'd like, oh, I'm going to drop a sky atmosphere and a skylight and a directional light and all that stuff into your scene. Well, I don't do that because that's really repetitive. So instead, I am going to, in Blueprints and Systems, I'm going to create a new folder called Environment. I think I spelled that right. Environment. And create a new actor called Base Environment. And this is going to contain all of those things. So we're going to add a skylight, a directional light with an arrow so we can know where it's pointing. Sky atmosphere and fog. I think it's atmospheric fog. No, it's exponential height fog, right? Yeah, there we go. And we will go ahead and crank that down here, crank that down to 5. The skylight will do at 2.5, I think. That sounds good to me. So now we just have this actor, which, hang on. I'm going to drop into here. And then we can just easily drop that into our level, and same environment throughout the whole game. And I'll even go ahead and take a... Oh, wait, one more thing. Naturally. We want some clouds. So I can edit in one place, and works through the whole game. Hello, Ron. Howdy. Welcome. We are making doing an example of how to make a game using Omega Game Framework in Unreal Engine. I'll also grab a snapshot of this, capture thumbnail. There we go. And I'll actually do G so I can get rid of that tiny icon. Capture thumbnail. Great. All right. Now, let's grab some of those static meshes. And let's make a new collection called Platforms so we have easy access to these. Let's see. Is it Hour of Code? Yeah. Boom. All right. Let's drop one in here. Take our start. Player start. Drop it here. Which for now won't do anything, but I'm also gonna replace this with my own. I think it's grid. No, block. Or how about this? We'll do a green one, and we will expand this out just so we have room to test around on. So there we have our level 0. Let's go back to the title screen, which will be under Maps. And the level should be in the Maps folder, not in the title screen folder. Thank you very much for that, Ron. Ron says, working in Unreal myself, but still got tons to learn, so I love your content like this. Thanks. Thank you very much. Now, as I say often, Omega Game Framework is intended for people who do understand all kind of the basics of Unreal Engine and how to use it, so it's a little more intermediary, but you're obviously free to welcome it if you want to try and use it. I welcome you. So now let's go back to the title screen. So now we have when we hit new game, we've created a new game and start the game, and now we're gonna do open level and do level 0. I think it's level 0, right? Just to see if that works. So now in this new game, boom, here we are on level 0. That's all we gotta do, right? Wrong, because Omega actually has its own way of transitioning between levels. Not that the other way you can't do it the other way. You totally can, but often when you're going between levels in a game, you don't want just a hard cut. You want to do some things like fade out music and fade out the screen and have a transition of some time. Well, there's actually a way to do that. Or additionally, perhaps you don't want to spawn at the same point every time. You want to spawn at a different place. There's actually ways of doing that. Through something called the zone subsystem. So we have the Omega subsystem zones. If you grab this and pull out, we can do level. We can do transit player to level by name, which would be the way we just did it. Or we can do transit player to level by reference. Then we can just grab right there, level 0. What on earth are those? That's hour of code stuff. I'll probably get rid of that. But so we have level 0 here, a direct reference to the level we want, which I may need to call something else then. And now, if I do that and hit new game, still transitions us. Let me go and check something. I think that's because... Oh, yeah. So now we're loading in through here. Which doesn't seem like there's anything special. Well, that's because we have nothing happening when we trigger the transition. It just cuts to the next level. But what you can do is you can go into the settings, go into Omega Game Framework, or Omega Framework settings, and down here where it says zones, you have a few options. One of them being transition sequence. And this is the sequence that will play whenever you begin the transition. It'll play forward whenever you start a transition and play in reverse whenever you finish it. So transition to a level and out of a level. So let's go ahead and make a new one. Just really quickly, it'll be a simple fade in, fade out. Under assets, we'll do a thing called sequence. Actually, let's make a folder, because I'm going to make a folder for levels anyway, or for level code. And here we'll make a new sequence, sec, level transit. And this will just be a simple fade in and fade out. And I will pull the sequence down here. Okay, well, I won't show you guys the sequence just because it's on my other screen, but I'll go through it quickly. Like I said, just a simple fade in, fade out. So we're going to start, whatever. I'll kind of show it to you. How about that? We're going to start at 0, and over the course of, let's say, that long, we'll go to 1, and then maybe give it just a little bit of cooldown time before we actually end the sequence. Because the way it'll work is, it'll begin the fade, and once it hits this red, it'll begin the level transition. Then once we load into the level, it should go back in reverse. So let's save that, drop that back down here. Maybe project settings, level transit. Now let's try it. New game. It worked. See, it faded out and jumped us to the new level. We don't have a fade-in sequence for transitioning levels. That we'll have to do manually later, maybe. But there is one thing we forgot to do, which is that the menu is still there. So why don't we take this out for right now and instead do this. Close menu. And when we close menu, it'll remove the menu from our screen. But we also have a few options here. Let's give it a flag, and we'll call it new game. Now, if we do this, oops. Got our fade in. New game. So we closed the menu, disappeared, nothing happened. It's because, remember, oops, hang on. My thing disappeared. Yes, there are fade nodes, which I will go over in just a second. Let's see. Oh yeah. So for here, menu, switch, collapsed, or unclosed because we closed menu. We had that new game flag. Then we will begin the level transition. So now we have this. And there was a bit of jittering there. We might have to fix later. Oh, I think because we forgot to keep the state of the fade. But that's fine for now. And so now we jumped into the other level. Now, as Ron mentioned, using a fade node, I don't know if he's talking about the Unreal or Omega's fade node or Unreal's, but I'll actually show you something about that as well, because we also, when we go to quit game, it just immediately quits the game. Well, what if we wanted to maybe have some sort of fade out event instead? What we will do is this. We have this handy node called fade async. Fade camera async. This will just start a fade of the camera and wait till it has hit whatever the target fade is. So in this case, we'll say 0.5 seconds. We want to go to 1. That's a complete fade. So now we have new game. Not new game. Quit game. And I think instead of closing the camera, because instead of closing the menu, now that I've demonstrated that, I'm actually going to remove that, just so that we can keep all the code for the title screen within the title screen itself. So we're going to put that here, and what instead we're going to do is a set visibility to collapsed. So now we can say quit. That didn't work. All right, because I put it after the fade. So we want to do it when the fade starts. Quit game. New game. There we go. All right. Give me just 1 second. I'm having a little bit of congestion trouble, so I just need to go and blow the nose. And we're back. Okay. So, now it's time to actually make the platformer element. So, let's go ahead and make a new game mode. Derived from this. Called gameplay. And go to our new level. Okay. Now, first things first, let's start making the character. So, I like to have one primary character class for my game that all other character types derive from. Pretty common. Let's make a new systems folder called characters. And we will actually, I could create it from scratch, but because it's faster, let's do what I should before, go into Omega. I'm going to copy this one, Omega demo character, into the characters folder. Copy here. And I'm going to rename it to, base character. So Fuza asks, will be covering on how to make abilities as well by giving one example. Yes, actually, I will be going through at least a jump ability and probably a sprint ability as well. Will be the examples. I'm just about to get into those, in fact. So let me go ahead and close out the extra stuff. Let me open up the base character, and what you'll see is it already has some camera stuff and a bunch of components added on because it derives from the Omega character. We don't need to use the Omega character in this case because I don't necessarily want all this extra stuff, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to change to use the base character class. Reparent. All right. So we have our base character here. What we will be adding, though, is two components. We'll have the data item component and the combatant component. These are I pretty much always have these on my characters because they cover a lot of the function in Omega. Oh, a few other things. A few other things actually I want to add. We'll have the actor state. This is a way of saving state via tags for your actor in your save game. So if you reload a level, you can keep their state. I don't know if we'll actually end up needing this, but let's just keep it in here for ease of use. And one more thing, if I go into here, I want to add the event. Oh, it's already in here. The actor tag event interface. Because this allows me to fire soft tag events across actors, which I'll probably get more into later. Anyway, we have our base character set up. Let's create a child called base PC, and this will be our base player character. Now we could go ahead and put this in the player folder, but I'm not going to do that because I want to create a new folder, which I'm going to call, I could call it gameplay. It's basically, this is the folder that's going to be where we're going to handle all the stuff for the primary gameplay elements of our game. So, for example, like this is a 3D platformer. This is going to be handling the entire, where we're going to store everything related to the actual platforming mode of the game. So I will just call this gameplay. And I'm going to drag the player in here. Now, you could put him in here or the player thing. It doesn't matter too much. But I'm going to keep it in here, and maybe you'll see why in a minute. So, in our gameplay game mode, let's go ahead and make sure we have base PC set as our character. And I think if we just... is that doing the... Yeah, it's doing a hard fade. Oh, could be because I don't have a... I don't think any of the zone system set up yet. All right. All right. So, let's see. Did we set that up? Sorry, it disappeared on me. Oh, no, it's right here. So we have that set to our base PC. Now let's go ahead and actually make that our main gameplay mode. So now we have this guy running around. I'm actually just for right now going to remove this level transition thing so it doesn't get too distracting. I'll probably handle that later, but for now we're just going to keep it, just so to speed things up, we're going to remove it. But you guys know how that works now. So now we have that. We got our basic character running around. Because he already has, if I go into, not GM main, because I already have some handy functions set up for moving a character, rotating a control, and on possession, it basically has input already set up. Although I'm actually going to get rid of this possession one. We don't need this. Because that possession is what enables us to actually move. We will see. I was planning on just seeing what I can get. Or sorry, Leaky Bucket asks, so is this going to be split across streams, or will you be doing this whole shabool today? I'll be trying to do probably as much as I can today. I want to try. I will need to speed things up. I want to try and basically get a character working with at least a jump and a sprint ability. Go through one level, maybe add enemies. I don't know if I'll get to that because that will involve AI, so probably not. But at least add a level or two that I can show as an example, just short ones, and then an overworld. And then obviously saving and loading. That's going to be pretty important. But yeah, anyway, I may end up doing more of this, just kind of show off additional stuff. Yeah, I think I may have overestimated how much I was able to get done today, but oh well. Because this is kind of intended to be more for future reference so people can come back to and look at. But anyway, because I removed that, I'll actually just expand this node here. So right now, this is our... I'm actually going to remove those and put them in our player. So for here, we just have a base character. That's our player controller. This is our player character. So, the only code in our player character right now are these: move character and rotate control. And these are essentially macros that I have that just do the typical 3D movement and camera rotation here, where we add pawn movements and add control input. And as you can see, it's just get control vectors. This is unique to pawns and allows you to get their control vectors: forward, right, up, down, whatever, based on their control rotation. So this is just a quick way to set up default third-person character movement. And because we already have a camera attached to it, it should handle that all right. Now, if I play right now, I can't move him around at all. None of my inputs work. Because before, it automatically added on a movement input map so I could move around, but now we don't have that. The reason we don't have that is because I need to actually set up the mode that will be our main gameplay mode for the game. So what we will call this is, let me think. Well, I guess let's just specify. What we're going to do in order to make it so we can actually play the game, activate the gameplay, is we are going to create a new gameplay system. Now, gameplay systems are sort of like mini game modes. They're essentially modular actors that handle entire systems of your game that that can be activated and deactivated on a level-by-level basis, and even at different points within level. And I use them for all sorts of different things. I use them for dialogue. I use them for combat. I use them for handling different game states or game data, stuff like that. It's kind of like all the different things that are in a normal game mode, like a game state or player controller. It's kind of like that, but you have more customization over them. So we're going to make a new gameplay system right now. Sorry, a gameplay system. No, that's an effect. Something just came in the door. Gameplay system. And we are going to call it system. You know what? I like exploration as a term better than gameplay, because that's more specific. This is the part where we're at. Basically, this determines this is the system or the mode where we're actually allowed to run around and explore and do stuff. So I'm going to change the folder name to exploration as well. So let's go ahead and open that up. And boom. Actually, open the blueprint. Here is our gameplay system. So we have this on activated and on shutdown. That's basically begin play and end play, but you have a little more stuff you can do with it. So this is, I don't think we're going to, yeah, actually for right now, all we're going to do is go to our player input mode and add input mode pawn. This is, like I was talking about input modes before, this one allows you to have the basic pawn controls that I was showing. So this one will, this one is the one that will allow us to actually move around, but we have to activate this system first. Now, normally you can just do activate gameplay system and do this. But for this, the way we want it to work is we want this system to automatically be activated whenever we start up our gameplay level. Now, the reason we don't want to put that in the game mode is we want to be able to deactivate this system as well. So when we go into dialogue, we want to like remove the HUD and remove our ability to move around and stuff, or when we're going into a cutscene or something. So we want to be able to deactivate this system at will again, which is why we're keeping it separate from the game mode. But the way we're going to do is, now that we have the system set up in our gameplay game mode, we have these right here called gameplay systems. And these is only if you're derived from Omega game mode, obviously. But we have preload gameplay systems, postload or load systems, and postload systems. Basically, preload will activate the systems here for preload that you can make. Will activate as soon as the level is loaded. Load game will activate as soon as all the preload systems are activated, and then it'll run. And you can set up your own system to determine how long it'll run. And this is essentially meant to be a time period where you can load in different stuff to your level that you don't want the player to see getting loaded in. And when the load system is shut down, then it'll activate the post-load systems, which means we don't want to be able to start moving around and doing stuff until after all the loading is done. So we're going to make exploration a post-load system. System exploration. Here we go. So now, because we're using this game mode, and we don't have anything in here, so we should automatically go to this. If I do this, there we go. I have the ability to move around. And I have that ability because if we scroll down here... Oh, is there a problem? Oh, there appears to be an issue. Okay, no, I'm having an error. Crap, this is the worst time to have a problem like this. All right. As for I'm sorry. Fuza asks, as for the sprint example, can you show how the UI will react to the ability? For instance, slowly showing the cool bar for the ability. I don't know if I'll do that in this, just because sprinting may not have a cooldown. We can give sprinting a cooldown. Why not? Just to demonstrate it. But first, I gotta figure out why this isn't working. So let me do print string. Hello. Okay, so it's working, but it looks like the system's getting shut down, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's automatically shutting down the system, and I don't know why. That's weird. Thanks for coming, Fuza. Hopefully you can get more out of this when at a later date. Then sorry you couldn't be here for very long. All right, so I may have to edit this part out. Let me go ahead and see if the issue is I need a post load system or a load system because I don't actually remember. So let's just go and make a new. I mean, it's good to show you this because loading is an important part of the game. So let's show you how to do this. Let's do load. Create a new systems folder called load. And we will have a system system load, and we'll just give it a second or two. The way this will work is we'll say when the system activates, we'll delay it for 0.2 seconds, and then we will shut down. So that way, when the system is shut down, we should activate system exploration. This is weird. I don't know why it's shutting that down. I'm not telling it to. Let me go ahead and restart the plugin and see if it was a bug. Not the plugin. Restart the editor. That's very peculiar. I was just using it the other day and I wasn't having that issue. I love it when something goes wrong on stream, live. That is a good root beer, by the way. Sprecher Fire Brewed. Oh, I just realized I had that text floating the whole time. Okay, we are back at it with a blank screen. Let's go here and make sure we reload our last level on startup. Okay. Back to our maps. Level 0. I'm gonna change the name of this to level 0 just because it might conflict with the hour of code. But so I do this now. Load in. This is peculiar. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Well, that's very strange. All right, well, we're going to do this the hard way then. All is not lost. All is not lost. Let's see. So if we go to this gameplay thing, we're just going to open the actual blueprint and look for, where is it? On it, a load event finished. Nope, wrong one. On load event finished. Get rid of that. We're going to say set system active. Not the way I would prefer to do this, but I don't know why it's working. Why it isn't working, so. All right. Something is very strange is happening. It's not related to, this, is it? It was just working. Why is it doing this? There we go. something about the zone system having the Omega whatever was. Oh, I bet I know what it was. I bet I know what it was. Okay, so basically, don't do. I need to make this an abstract. Don't use this anywhere because it'll screw up basically any systems you're using. So don't touch that. The default system. Just make your own. I'll just make it so that's abstracted out. Anyway, so now I've shown you two ways. You can have onload event finished, which is the same as running things after this is done. But instead, just going to do it how I initially showed you. Well, that was educational. All right, so now we have that tick running, and our exploration system is active. And if we go into the HUD, we can actually see gameplay, the game mode is here, and we have the exploration system running. Sweet. Open it up again. Now, let's go ahead and add a HUD, why don't we? Because we always want a HUD for our game. Now, the way Omega does HUDs is it has a specific type of user widget called a HUD layer. So if I look this up here, we have a HUD layer. So I would just say HUD exploration. We'll go ahead, overlay. Oops. Oh, overlay. Print screen? No, we'll add a size box. 50. And we'll add a vertical box in there. 100. 500. And we'll add 2 progress bars. Actually, we'll do this for right now, but it's just going to be to demonstrate that we can create how easily we can create a HUD. This one will be for like stamina or whatever, and so actually we'll make it yellow. Yeah, let's deal with that. So now, it shouldn't appear yet, right? So we've made this HUD, but now we want it to actually appear. Very easy to do. Let's go back to our gameplay system, our exploration system, and right under where we have input mode, we also have added player widgets. So let's go there and select our widget, HUD exploration. Now let's start the game. Boom. It's pretty big, but we have our HUD already layered up. And so that was a lot of we're an hour in, so that was a lot of work. But let me just show you actually, now that we've gone through that process, what we actually have to worry about. So for our title screen, we have one class, title screen, which just has this and this tiny bit of code here. Let's see if we can get rid of that. We don't even need this code that much. It's basically just this code right here to start the game. Start or new game, and this bit here to close it. Great game. That loads us into our normal game mode where we have where all that really happens is we activate this system, which gives us the ability to move around and adds the HUD to here. And that is contained in, we have the title screen there. And through exploration, we have 3 actors, our player, 1 HUD, and 1 system. And this is another one of the points behind Omega, is trying to condense stuff down to have as few different classes and stuff as possible, or as that you feel you need. You can have more stuff if you want to, but you don't need to. Anyway, let's make this HUD a bit smaller. Let's set it to 60 and go 400 by 75. How about? Just keep it a little bit smaller. All right. Now it's time to actually start making the stuff related to our character. So we'll start with attributes. So attributes, you might be familiar with. This is basically anything for a character that has like some sort of scalable number. So it can be health, stamina, mana, or it can be something like strength, defense, speed, all sorts of stuff like that. And in this case, I think we're only going to need 2 for right now. We're going to have a health attribute and a stamina attribute. So let's just make a new folder for these, because I think we may want to use these on enemies. We'll say attributes. Let us see. Omega attribute. We'll say health and stamina. Let's open these up. Let's start with the health one. So we're going to give it the display name health, and we'll just give it the label of HP because that's shorter and easy to remember. But here we have a bunch of other stuff we can worry about, like its name, label, like we showed before. Thank you, SquarePeg Makes Games. Yeah, that's kind of the idea behind Omega, is just speed a lot of the stuff that you would normally make up, give it to you right out of the box so you can start making games. So anyway, for health, I'm going to make the color of this green, as you might imagine, maybe slightly greenish blue, but mostly green. We're not going to worry about damage color for now. We'll say our max value is 100, and we're going to start at 1. So max value is the maximum value this attribute can ever reach. Start value percentage is when this attribute is given to a combatant, which we'll talk about pretty soon. What percentage do you want to start it at? So in this case, I want to start it at 100%, which is going to be 1.0, which will start us at 100 in this case, because we set it to this. And we won't worry about this other stuff for now. For stamina, same thing, 100, 1. Stamina. And we'll make this, yeah, that yellowish color. Make sure we set the alpha up, because we're going to be using this. So now we have these two attributes. In order to give them to our character, we'll need to set up an attribute set. So we'll say default attributes. We'll go ahead and add hang on. There's a bunch of ones here set for Omega demoing, but we won't worry about those. Not health, not too health. We want stamina. All right. So we have these. Now let's go ahead and make sure we'll go into our base character, because that's what had the combatant components, and we'll set this to use the default attributes that we made. So now we can't see it, but I now have those attributes, and I now have those attributes set to 100. But we'll want to display them up here in the corner. So the way we are going to do that is not by doing any binding with these progress bars, but instead we want to create special widgets that will display and contain attributes. So back in Blueprints, I'm going to make a new folder called UI. So it'll be for any widgets, anything user interface related. And I'm going to look up a widget, but just a special type of widget called a data widget. Data widget. Another thing that's unique to Omega. A data widget is a user widget that essentially has a source object that you can derive data from. So in this case, the way it's going to work is we're going to set that source object to be either our combatant or our attribute, and it's going to pull attribute data from that. All right. In fact, let's start off with making a little to demonstrate some other stuff. I'm actually gonna make a widget, another data widget that will contain all the information related to our character up here, and I will call that data widget HUD player, and this will just contain overlay and vertical box. All the information related to our character specifically, like their attributes and whatnot. And in fact, let's wrap this with a horizontal box. And let's give him a little icon as well. Wrong side. There's a few pre-made icons in Omega that you can use. I'll do 100. Nope, not that big. 50 by 50. 100 by 100. That'll work. And let's drop this up here. Wait, no. Let's keep the size box. And height override. Well, I mean, hey, thanks, Gray. Though, if you need to do the project, that might take priority. But I very much appreciate it. It's up to you. Thank you. So yeah, and I'll try not to make this too dragged out. So anyway. Now we have this data widget that we've added, and to show you how to data widget work, let's go into this. So we have these different functions here. Remember when I showed you earlier in the title screen? These little widgets right here. Well, those are a kind of data widget, and what's happening is we're creating an object and giving it a name, a description, and a label, and it's reading that and displaying it on the widget. We can do a similar thing here because this is a custom data widget where we have options to link a description or a text widget for description, a text widget for name, as well as image widgets for icons and stuff. We're not going to worry about that right now. We could, but we're not going to. What we're going to do is go ahead and go back to our attributes, and because this will be where the attribute is stored, add an overlay as always. Let's add a progress bar now here, and I'm actually going to use my Omega progress bar, but it's just a style difference. It doesn't actually change anything. Meter. And we're going to go ahead and add 2 of these here. One will be for HP, one will be for stamina. We'll even call that. And HP. I don't even know if these need to be variables, but we'll just set it to them for now. And we'll... So now if I look back at the HUD, boom, there they are. Now to set up the logic. So the way data widget works, like I said, is that you set a source asset right here, and then we can derive data from that source asset. I'm going to delete these for right now then. Now, there's 2 ways we could go about doing this example, for instance. We could set the source attribute to be an attribute itself, or we could set the source asset to be the player, or specifically the player's combatant. I'm going to use the combatant, and I'll show you why. Of the many features that I've added to Omega, I think one of the most useful is a handful of functions that I made. One of them being this right here, which is try get component from object. What this does, as it says here, it will attempt to look at this object, check to see if it's either an actor or a component. Torto, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce your name, but thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy it. I really appreciate more people being here, but yeah, welcome. Thanks, SquarePeg, for welcoming me in. Anyway, this is one of the functions I made. Try get component from object. What this will do is it'll look at an input object, check and see if it's either an actor or a component. If it's an actor, it'll check and see if that actor has a component of this class. If it's a component, it'll check to see if that component is of this class, or it'll check to see if that component has any siblings that are of this class. So it's sort of an easy way of just trying as many ways as you can to grab a component you want from an object, even if you don't know what that object exactly is. And it has an output for success and failure. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the combatant component. And we're going to set it here, combatant. Make it private. Now, once we've done that, we want to... So this is a percentage, and we're actually going to do get percent attribute percentage, because we want to get the percentage of an attribute and then set that to be what the meter's percentage is. So set percent. So the meter widget will be set as the same percentage as whatever the attribute is. Let's go ahead and set that attribute to be this. Or sorry, attribute. We'll make it so we can actually decide what that attribute is. So now, if we go into HUD player here and here, what we can do is we can say health and set this one to be stamina. Now, wait, let me check anything. Yeah, let's just go with, no, yeah, let's do this first. So now I have this set on source asset change. This means whenever I change the source asset by doing something like, let's say, get our HP and say set source asset. We can set the source asset right here, and that'll change it here. But this will only happen whenever the source asset is changed. Instead, I think we should use a different function called refreshed. Event on refreshed. This will allow us to manually do a refresh of our widget whenever we want. So it's the same way. Let's grab our source asset and set percentage. Let's also go ahead and I'm gonna do set a thing that's checks and sees. I also want to make sure we can set the color of the widget to whatever the attribute is. So set, I think, color? Set fill in color. And we'll grab our attribute color. Oopsies. And hook it up there. And the last thing is pre-construct. When we pre-construct this, we want to refresh it so we can actually get that attribute displayed. So there we go. Very simple bit of code here. But if we go into this, look at that. We have our color for our health attribute and stamina attribute displaying. So now if we, I guess we want to test attributes, don't we? So let's do a test here on our gameplay system. It'll be temporary. We'll say do once delay. Every second we want to get player combatant. We want to get the combatant from our player and apply attribute damage. This is like the normal apply damage, but it's specifically to to a specific attribute. So we will set that to damage our health, and we're going to do damage 10 health every turn, or every second. How about every 1.5 seconds? So that should slowly deplete our health until it reaches 0, which won't do anything now because we have to set that up later. But let's print it out too. Print string. Let's get our and specify this get player combatant. This is kind of like get player character or player pawn, but it tries to get the combatant component from whoever the player character or pawn is. Anyway, get attribute value, and we'll make sure we'll get our. We want to do health because that's what we're checking. We want to get our current value. Max value is the most it can have it right now. Current value is whatever it currently has. So if I do this, make sure everything is working. And you can see our health is going down, but it's not displaying in the, I forget what it's called, in the widget. Because there's a few things we have to do first. One, we have to tell it that we actually want this widget to be linked to the player. So very simple. On that, we'll do it when this HUD is created. Set source asset to be player combatant. Let's fire it up. Still not working because we haven't told these two widgets that we want to use the player combatant yet. We've only told this HUD here that we want to use it. Well, there's a way we can essentially redirect the source asset from one data widget onto its children. And the way you do that is whenever you add a data widget to a existing widget, you go over and click this, update source asset from parent. This will look up to find the first parent widget that is a data widget, and will take the source asset from it. So in this case, when I set the source asset here, it will send that source asset down onto here, and we'll get it here. So now we are not getting an update. Now remind me why that is. Right. We don't know that the player is being damaged. So, let me do one more thing. Let me think if I'm doing this. Yes, I am. I want to say assign on damaged. So for this widget, whenever our attribute is damaged, we want to also refresh the widget. And there we go. So now that goes down every 1.5 seconds as we are damaged. Boom, health is working. It doesn't do anything functionally, but it's working. Let's clear out this. All right, now abilities. Exactly. Boom, yeah. Now, abilities. The main thing everyone uses Omega for. We're going to keep using exploration, and we're going to say abilities. And we're going to have 2 for this case. Ability, just to keep it simple, jump and sprint. Now, in order to make sure I can actually use abilities, you'll need to go to your combat components and grant them manually through functions, or just go here. I'll say jump and sprint to know that the base player character PC can actually use these two abilities. So now if I open this up, you see me right there. You see the abilities attached to me. Let's also go ahead and get rid of that function that's depleting our health. We don't need that. Now, using them abilities. On jump, this is going to be super simple. So we have all our stuff here. Ability activated, ability finished. See whether it's canceled or not. Activated tick. We have a normal tick because this is an actor. But this activated tick will only run while the ability is activated. We also have combatant notify. We won't worry about that now. That's just a way to send notifications to and from combatant elements. So now we'll say whenever the jump button is pressed, we'll fire... No. We'll say get character. Ability owner character. This assumes that the owner of this ability is a character class. So we will say jump. And we will delay, let's say 1.5. And this is, remember, there's different ways to do jumping in platformers specifically. I'm just trying to teach you the basics how to do this stuff in Omega. So as far as like precision platforming of holding down to go higher, not going to worry about that. Anyway, we're going to jump, then wait a 0.2 and do complete ability so that we can't spam the jump. Also for safety, so this is the basic of the jump ability. Jump, complete ability, ability activated, non-ability activated, blah, blah, blah. Let's also make sure that, at least for now, can we activate this ability? Actually, we won't worry about that. We'll just keep it simple for now. So this is the basics of how you make an ability. But now I need a way to trigger it. Well, an easy way would be you could do activate ability from the combatant here by doing like, I don't know, space or keyboard, whatever, you know, do an input here. But I have a better way of doing it. What we're gonna do is create a new input action. Input action jump. I'm gonna make one for sprinting as well. Sprint. For jump, let's go to input receiver and set that to jump. And this is hooked up so whenever we fire the jump input, it'll try to activate this ability. Now, we also need to set it up so we actually have these input maps available. So let's do input map exploration. We will make sprinting shift and jump space. Keep it simple. Now let's go back to our exploration system, which remember manages the entire exploration game mode, or mode of the game. And we have this option here called added player input mapping. Let's go here and add exploration. And we'll show you without this. If I try to play the game, nothing happens when I hit space because, oh, it's not receiving the input. If I add the space now, boom. And then we have our jump ability. And if you want to make any information related to the jump, it all goes right here in this ability. And again, because the ability is an actor, you can actually add components to it. Like we won't do this, I don't think, for here, but for today. But if you wanted to have an attack, you could add a sphere component to the attack ability, and then check within the ability to see if that sphere is overlapping enemies. Things like that. So that is the basics of the jump ability. All right. And let's go ahead and do the sprint one next. Sprint. So, the sprint ability is going to work similar but different. As with most things, similar but different. What we're going to do is we're going to say get ability owner character movement component. Very much a mouthful, but the way it's going to work is this gives us direct access to the movement component of the character, assuming it is a character owning this ability. So, let's say speed. We'll get max walk speed. We're going to change it, so we'll have it change on here and here, but we also want to I want to be able to change the max walk speed from the character if I want to fine tune it, not from the sprint. So let's say begin play. Because remember, this is still an actor, so it's still like when it's added to the character, it'll run begin play, and ability active and deactive will activate when you manually activate it. Hey Sam, what's up? Thanks for coming. Yeah, we're kind of showing how to. Obviously, like I said before, this will all be VOD, video on demand, so you can go back and watch it whenever you want. Right now, we're working on abilities for jumping, in this case, sprinting. This is a sprint ability. So let's say get max walk speed. And again, this means the walk speed will be relative to the character, so you could have different characters that walk at a slower or faster. You could set that on the character itself, and then the ability would just handle the sprinting part of it. So we will say default speed. And we will say, when we finish, we return to the default speed, but on activation, we'll say 75% faster. Make sure it's the sprint. Now, if I do this right now, and I hit it, you may not have seen it. In fact, let's do something else first. Let's also add a post-processing element to this ability, which we also will need to make sure. By default, abilities are hidden in game, but you can set that off, which I'm going to do now. Let's grab the post process and say set blend weight. I don't think of anything for that. Yeah. Set the blend weight to 1 on activation and 2 on deactivation. So for this, we will say, let's say blur. Nope, blur amount as well as vignette. Keep it high. So now, when we activate sprint, nope. We got to make sure that it's turned off initially, though. So we'll set its default blend weight to 0. And now, when we activate sprint, you may not see it, but we are going faster because the sprinting ability is on. However, right now it's a toggle. I just hit the sprint ability. In fact, let's make it, to make it clearer, let's say 2.5 speed. And let's pull the camera back as well. It's a platformer after all. We don't want the camera that close. We'll say 450. So now I'm going a lot faster. And the blur is up. Hopefully none of you are getting motion sickness. We probably won't keep that. But right now it's a toggle where I hit shift and it activates. But I needed a way to deactivate it because the jump deactivates itself. But here it doesn't. Well, the way you can do that, let's go to class defaults. Scroll up to here and say we have activate on started. Here we're going to say finish on input complete and cancel. Now these need to be updated because I believe complete and cancel has been removed and we just have complete. I don't remember. But this is basically means whenever we take our hand off the button, it will cancel or complete this ability. Finish this ability. Complete it. So now it'll only work when I have it toggled. Pretty cool, right? Well, a few more things we want to do. Way we want sprint to work is that it depletes our stamina bar. And we can't activate it unless our stamina is over 0. And actually, I would say a little more. So what let's do, let's take activated tick, because again, that concerns activation tick. Ticking while it's activated. And we'll say get combatant owner. Apply attribute damage, because we want to damage our stamina. And we will say we will damage stamina, say 0.1. Every single tick. And I know this isn't how you should do this. You should set up a proper event system. Actually, let's do it properly. Why don't we? So get set. You know, no. This is faster. This is just kind of to demonstrate Omega again. So yeah, for now, while it's active, we're gonna damage our stamina. So there, our stamina is depleting. I'm gonna make it deplete a little bit faster than that. Okay, but once it hits 0, we're still sprinting. Well, what you can do is say, while it's ticking. Wait a second, let me see. Ability. I think I have a. ability. Is it check? I may have a function for this. No, attribute. Is it check or attribute? I do have a. So yeah, I do have a macro for this, which is just going to basically check the attribute's percentage and see where it is. So basically here, what we're going to do is say when the stamina attribute is less than or equal to 0%. So we've depleted our stamina. Then we're going to cancel the ability. And if it's not, then we're going to deplete the ability. And we also want to make sure we can't. Let's go in so can't activate, because we want to make sure we can't actually activate the sprint until our stamina is above a certain amount. Let's say stamina. Oh, get attribute. We'll do percentage. That's easier. If our stamina is above, let's say, at least 20%, then we can activate it. If it's under 20%, we have to wait for it to recharge. I'll get to your question in a second, Sam. So now we can do that until, boom. Now it's depleted. But we have no way to restore it. So let's go ahead and say... I think for now, we'll keep this on sprint. Normally, for more advanced game, you may not want to do this because you'd want stamina to handle other things. But for now, we'll just say normal tick. If active, let's see. If is active, for this is the ability active. So if the ability is not active, we want to very slowly... Oh, we'll make it a negative because we want to heal it. So we want to restore the stamina. So as long as the ability isn't active, we're very slowly going to restore the stamina. And if I go down here, I have to wait until it's above 20% to activate. Perfect. And that's our sprinting ability. Look at that. Just one sprint, one jump, an input for each. And we have a jump and sprint ability built in. And of course you can sprint in the air because why not? In fact, let's... no, we won't worry about that. To your question, Sam, Circle of Ryan, it's going all right. I kind of... The issue is I picked up some more work, some more contract freelance work. So that's taking a little bit of my time right now, which is why the next devlog has been a little bit late. But I am still working on it. I've made a lot of progress on the script. I'm actually starting to get very... I'm in like the last part of the script for the story. And I am going through and adding, working on the trigger pass, about to start the trigger pass for chapter 2. So I am making progress. It's just a little bit slower right now, but, how's my connection? I'm getting some, stuff saying my bit rate is a bit low, but, let me close out some stuff I don't need. All right. Let me pull up the notes. So now we have a character running around with the ability to sprint and jump. Let's make a pause screen. I think that's important. So, under exploration, because we let's do a new system, actually. I like to do that because then they're kind of all in one area where I can find the pause. So, we're going to do a new menu. I've already showed you how to do menus, so I'll probably just go through this. Menu, pause... Overlay, blur, lock it down so it's not causing me trouble. Data lister, put it in the middle. Custom entries, also make sure auto sizes. And vertical. Resume. Save and quit. Resume, save, and quit. Let's grab that again. Why? I thought it was a variable by default. I guess not. Selected. Switch. Resume. save. We will worry about the save system a little bit later. That will just close the menu. This will open level. In this case, I'm just going to do this open level to title screen. Actually, no, I should use what I've taught you. So, get Zoom subsystem, open level, oops, transit player to level. There we go. Title screen. There. And now we just need a way to open this pause menu. We'll say we can only open it from the exploration mode. So if this mode's ever off, if we're in dialogue or something, we can't open pause. So let's say whenever I hit the escape key, open menu, and it will open the pause menu. So now, oh, right, I have to enable input on this thing. Player 0. Boop. So there you go. But remember, I also have to make sure I have the interface input mode so I can have mouse and menu control. And I can do that. Great, but now I have my HUD and stuff still there. Well, this is now we get into the reason why I made this a system, because then we can activate it and deactivate it when we want. The way I'm going to do that is when we open the pause menu, set active. I can say set game system active. So let's set our exploration mode. Let's set it not active. And when we close the menu, we will set it to active again. So that way, once we open this menu, it'll actually shut this entire system down, which means it'll remove the HUD, it'll remove this input, it'll remove that input, which means we can't play or do anything. But that's good, because that's what we want when we have this mode. So when we do that, I'll have escape, that all goes away, resume, it comes back. Give me 1 second. Super chat 5. Oh! Hang on. Is that I think I just got a super chat. I need to actually go to open and check because I think it's my first one. Yeah, the way the stream I'm going through doesn't handle stuff well, so but hurry up, YouTube. I need to see. All right, I'll continue and get to yours in just a second. Come on. All right, there we go. My first super chat from Notternees. I'm sorry. Let me try. You gave me money, so I should learn how. I should see if I can pronounce that. Natterenzi says, thank you for OMF. I assume he means OGF, Omega Game Framework. How often do you build plugins for blueprint-only projects? Well, so the entire reason I made Omega Game Framework in the first place is so I could essentially make all my projects blueprint-only. Liberty Bell, the game I just worked on, doesn't have any C++ code. I didn't make any C++ code for it. It's just Omega. The game before that I worked on, Fantastic Kitty Roo, just blueprints, no C++. The only C++ is in the Omega Game Framework. Circle of Orion, same thing. I'm not using any C++ in that actual game's code. All the C++ is being put in OGF so that you can use OGF and only use it with blueprints. And that is the entire purpose behind it. So for blueprint, I mean, that's essentially the idea is I've made a few other plugins. Like I have Assembly, which is very out of date. I don't use it much right now. And then World Mason, another plugin I made. But they are very much designed so that I don't need to add C++ to any of my games because that takes a while to manage. So I just make it all the C++ I want, put it in Omega Game Framework, and have it for whatever project I want. And that's kind of the idea behind that. So, now let's see what we were doing. We were in the pause menu, which should take us to the title screen. The title screen is activating the game system, so let's fix that. All right, so let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to the title screen for a second because the title screen should be using the gameplay game mode, which we want to change it to use the main one. So yeah, there we go. All right, and now that we have a pause system, let's do one more thing. Let's showing off another Omega feature called, we'll say, get gameplay Omega gameplay subsystem. The gameplay subsystem is the main subsystem that handles anything on a world-by-world basis, as opposed to a game instance basis. Let's do this. Pause. Set actors paused. Another Omega system. This lets us pause actors by tags for different situations we want. We may want to pause everyone in a pause menu. We may want to only pause enemies during a cutscene so they don't hurt us. And that sort of thing. Now, let's go ahead and say character, and we will say pause when menu is open, unpause when it's closed. Now, in order to have this work, let's go back to our characters, add a component, pause. Oops. Let's add the gameplay pause component and say character. So now, let's go back to our, what's it? Level 0. And if I hit escape, character paused. Let's resume. There we go. Sweet. All right. All right. So let me think. Let me check my notes for what is next. I have enemies. I'm not going to make enemies just yet. Instead, I'm going to make... Let's move that down. I'll make hazards a little bit later. All right, let's make some... How about we make some platforming and doors and switches? I'm not going to work on ledge grabbing because there's nothing really for Omega that's like would apply to ledge grabbing, really. So we'll make it just very simple platforming. Where am I facing? Over here? Okay. As long as I can get up here, jump. I cannot. Let's modify our jump a little bit. Bit of a question, will OGF be updated to 5.3? It will be, but I don't know when. Right now, I'm working on with 5.2, so that's mainly what I add stuff for it. I talked about the marketplace situation earlier in the video. It just, I can't guarantee anything in the immediate future, though I'm still trying. But as for updating to 5.3, yes, I just don't know when it'll be. So where was I? Oh, character, yes. So I want to adjust jumping. Just go to character movements, gravity spell scales 2.5, and make our jump velocity 90 or 900. Just so I can, and we'll make it smaller. Dude, don't crash on me. Over, no, duplicate. Need to make these smaller platforms. In fact, better idea. I think I had that other platform thing, didn't I? Yeah. Whoop, a lot of overshooting. All right, because I forgot Epic Design needs to not have collision, so I gotta fix that. Lock all. Make sure they actually have collision. And let's just do complex is simple. Why not? We're not doing anything crazy here. Not quite enough. All right. See, I wanted to show you how to do doors and switches. What was it? Oh, right. Tag events. That's what I wanted to show you to demonstrate. All right, let's make a new actor. I'm gonna make something called actors, and we'll say floor switch. Box, no, cube, yes, is cylinder. Crank it out, crank it down, and we'll add the, oops, red, hang on. Box collision. 50, 50, 50, 50. So yeah, this is what I'm going to demonstrate here is how I made some of the different puzzles and mechanics in Liberty Bell using one of Omega's other features, which is called tag events. That's it. So what we're going to start with doing is making this this floor switch, which will add no collision here, and drop it right here. Nothing should happen when I walk over it now. Oh, let's also change this to current camera location so we can test stuff easier. So I hit that. We will set up. Let's also set up a door system. Door. Share a little bit how I like to make doors as well. Door root. Door. Let's just target points. Not target points. Billboard. That's it. And I like to do this to mark where doors like open and close to. Door open. Oops. And door closed. Cube. Cubism, boys. All right. Up here. I guess I should ask while here. Does anyone have specific features of Omega that you've like looked at and you want to understand how to use, but you don't actually know how, and you'd like me to go over? If you have anything like that, I would be depending on what it is. I don't think there's anything I would be off the table to talk about, but door mesh. Yeah. Drop our door right here. And let's say set open. What a timeline. Play reverse. It's open. We will, over the course of, let's say, not too much time. 0, 0, and time 0.4 will be at value of 1. And then we will simply set relative location to, or between these two, get relative location, and that's door open, door. Oh, that's door closed. We're going to start at the closed position and go to the open, or we're going to move. Yeah. Now all right. So now this should work, and let's just say, just to test it out, 1. Set open. There we go. All right. Let's also move some of this stuff up higher. Oops. Not you, door mesh. You stay where you are. Actually, no. Actually, you can't go up. Never mind. That's okay. So yeah, it should work. Open on its own. I did not mean to turn on that debug thing, but I guess I did. All right, now we want a way to open this. Now, what would be? We want to basically. I want to set up a way to have it so when I hit this button, it opens the store. And let me actually make it so when I walk over the button, it does that. Floor switch, so it can actually detect the player. Very simple. Begin overlap equals player pawn. Makes the collection only overlaps custom. Only overlaps the pawn. Print player here. Now, there's all sorts of ways you could do this. Like I could set up an actor variable on the switch and have it reference the door. I could have it. I could go into the level blueprint and do stuff that way. But the main problem with a lot of those is it has to be hard coded, and it becomes a little more difficult to say if you wanted to have different combinations. If you want to have different ways a store could open, like maybe it opens based on a timer, or maybe it opens based on just getting close to it, or other things like that. Or maybe you don't want this button to open a door, you want it to spawn a ledge, or you want it to do other sorts of things. And so you want to have a little more control on the level and by level, case by case basis of what you want things to do. Well, that's where tag events come into. Let's go ahead and grab the floor switch and add this actor tag event interface to it and to the door. I don't know if we actually need it on the switch, but we'll have it on the door. Let's go and say on tag events. We'll say, here's what we'll do. And we'll have, yeah, actually this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to have a new tag container called open on events. And we will say, we'll have a default one called event open. Has tag, exact tag. So when we get this tag event, any of the tag events given to it here, we will say set open to true. So we will open the door. Say trigger events. Actually, here we go. Okay, so yeah, that's what we want to do whenever we get that tag events on the door. So if I go into here, we see open on events, on event open. Now if we go to the floor switch, we're gonna call whenever we have the player run over, we're gonna do a function call called fire tags. Yeah, fire actor tag events. And what this is going to do, and we have a few different versions of this, but it's going to let us say, hey, whenever... oh, wait, one more. Let's rename this and say player touch events. So this is whenever the player touches this button, it's going to fire any of the events that we list here. So what instead we can do is say on player touch, we can go to the door, select the door, and say event open. So now, boom. And I could do all sorts of other things. Like, let's say, oh, I don't know. Oh, well, let me actually show you. What's neat about actor tag events is that they don't just get sent to the actor themselves. They get sent to all its components as well, provided the components have those... have that the interface. So let's make a new component called component. And however, I'm almost going for 2 hours, so I may need to stop here and resume another day after all. Well, let's keep going for a little longer. I can do that. Sorry, let's make a new actor component called tag event destroy. And we will add the gameplay tag events interface here. Nope, that's the wrong. That's the gameplay tag. That's the gameplay tags interface just in general. New event tag event. All right. And we'll do the same thing. Destroy on events, or we'll just say destroy events. Tag container has tag that one. Exact match. We will say get owner and destroy actor. And we'll say event kill. All right, so let's go ahead and drag any old. We'll just make a copy of this. Drag it over here and give it that component. Event tag event destroy. All right, on event kill. So let's also say when I hit this button, event kill. Boom, just like that. And that is a simple example of how you can use actor events. You can also, because this might take, I'll get to your question in just a second, Sam. You can also, because maybe you want to have one tag event that you want to do on several different things. For example, if you've played Liberty Bell, there's a few instances where I wanted to fire an event on multiple things at once. Like I think it was, one example was I hit a button and that started a timer that opened the door. It opened a door. And when that timer ran out, that timer needed to both shut the door and also or run an event called like finish or something. And I could be remembering this wrong, but like shut the door and reset the floor timer. Or in another case, there was one where I needed to spawn multiple platforms, but I didn't necessarily want to go through the whole process of being like, all right, add a new one. Okay, so let me back up. Let me just show you an example. Say I had multiple platforms like this, and I wanted to destroy them all. Hypothetically. Well, I could take the time to go and select each one and say event. Oh, sorry, I did that one. That one say event kill as well. But maybe that'll start taking a lot of time. Well, what instead I can do is I can look up tag event disperser and select all the actors I want. Then instead, get rid of those. Let's just reference the tag disperser and say kill. And that means whenever I send an event to this, it'll disperse them over to these. So if I do that right, ta-da! And that's a way you can get really creative on an individual basis of how you want different events to trigger and things like that. All right, Sam. Liberty Bell was a fun game. How did you create the old retro pixelated shader? So it was a combination of a few things. One, all the textures are super low res. I think they're like, at most, they're like 100-something pixels. And they use the filter, I believe, is nearest, and that gives it a pixelated look. So that's for textures. As for the post-processing shader, it was just a pixelating shader off of the marketplace, and I don't remember what the name of it was. It may have been like PSX shader or PSX retro shader or something like that. But essentially, I just got that and tweaked it a little bit for my own use. But that contains most of what I used for the post-processing effects. A lot of that, after that, it was just kind of looking at old retro games, like the Spider-Man PS1 game was a big reference for just how they did stuff. All right, so that's doors and switches. Collectibles. Now we get into some of the other Omega stuff. So, what's the best way to do this? Nice. I think I've heard retro. I may have used retro graphics. I don't remember. Maybe just some of it. But anyway, so now I want to show you how I would do collectibles and something like this. I think so. Well, I'll just do this. I'll make a new system called. No, collectibles were on a level basis, weren't they? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a new system called system level. And this will, because it's system, it'll be created every level. Let's go back to, where is it? Gameplay. And we're actually going to add this system at the start of the level. Because it's going to handle like our data for collectibles and stuff. So we're going to say system level. And actually, you know what? No. We'll have something for system level, but we're going to have a different thing called collectibles. That's the whole point I made this modular. That's right, because maybe you want to remove the system later. Who knows? Or you want to change it separately. So we'll say system collectibles. Add that in as well. We're going to load it right at the start. And so here will be our collectible system. It should be working fine. If I scroll down, yeah, collectibles right there. All right, so here we're going to use a component called a data asset collection or an inventory component. Very simple. This just allows you to have a data asset with a linked integer that allows you to essentially collect data assets. So that's the start of what we're going to do. Let's let me think. Let's add a data widget to show our collectible count. Data widget collectible. Overlay, just because it's easy. Horizontal box. We'll have our icon for the collectible. I think any old icon would work. Let's just look, see if I have... pineapple, fine. 0 text max D-ish. That's not max, that's current. Current and max. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and say brush image and hook this image up to here. And let's set its size to 50 by 50. Because that way it'll automatically set whatever the source assets icon is to it. So I got our stuff there. Let's go back to our HUD. Data lister. Collectibles. Put it in the other corner. For right now, we'll just do this. So that we can have them up here for reference, but I'll be changing that pretty shortly. And let's add, I don't know, we'll add 2 collectible types. Oh, perfect. Because now I get to show you guys a little bit of how to use data items. So, data items are like data assets, but they have a special thing called traits, which are kind of like data-only components, where you can decide what traits you want to have on what items on an item-by-item basis, rather than using a parent-child system. So, in this case, let's make a new folder called Collectibles. Date item. Say a gem is a collectible. Give me just a second. Okay. Gem. Give it the name gem. Do it jewels. Gem. Crystals? There we go. Not really very gem-like, but it'll do. A gem, and it wouldn't really be a collectible, but it would be a pickup, would be a health thing. We'll just say a gem and a... What's a good... This would be like a more rare collectible. We only really need 2 to test this out. Vial. Not potion. Potion? Vial? Green? Where is it? Yeah. Alright, so now let's go ahead and instead add, excuse me, a gem and a vial. Make sure we're not using custom. And hey, look at that. They appeared right there. Now, they're not going to do anything until we've hooked some stuff up. So, what I'm going to do is go into our data widgets collectible. I'm going to say get active system collectibles, and we will say get, what was it called? What did I call it? We'll just call it collectibles. That component will be called that. Get collectibles, and we'll say get amount, get number of type. Now this needs to be a data asset, so cast to primary data asset. We will say set our current amount, set text. But once again, we want to use the refresh one in this case. What we can do though is say on source asset changed. I have this assigned on asset added or removed. Oh wait, no. We'll hold off because there's something else I want to show you guys how to do later. All right, so yeah, that'll update our current amount to be whatever the amount of the collectibles are. But now we also want to be able to show the max amount. For example, actually, worry about max in a second. First, I want to show you how to add the collectibles. So now that we've got that set up to display, I mean, it should display. Sweet. But now, let's make it so we can actually collect them. We'll make an actor called collectible. Static sphere. Sphere collision. We'll remove the collision from this. No collision from that. Make sure it only can overlap the player. Custom. Ignore everything but a pawn. And on overlap equals player character or pawn, doesn't matter. Then we are going to just keep it simple and say get active system. Wait. Oh no, yeah. Get active system, get our collectible system, and add asset. We want to add one count one asset to this. And collectibles, or collectible. And then destroy it. Destroy actor. So let's say collectible right here, and right here, and then one over here. These will be gems, and this will be a vial. So if we do this, I think we hit escape and resume. Yeah, now it'll show what our amount is. We just want to make sure that we're updating the amounts in runtime. Let's also show the maximum that our amount on the field as what the crap? Okay, we got a crash. Hang on, no one panic. No one panic. This is understandable. This does indeed happen sometimes. All right, we're back. I didn't even check to see what the crash reason was. So now, but I think it was when I was loading a blueprint should be fine. So let's go ahead and load these collectibles up. And what's neat is we don't have to. We could potentially, but I don't need to necessarily create children to different types of collectibles because I can just set the type right here. All right, so we destroyed the actor. Let's jump to the Collectibles System. It's right here. Blue. Let's say, This is a pickle. I just realized perhaps there's a better way to do this. Oh, no. I've got it. Oh, right. I haven't gone back yet. Sorry about that. Transition. Perfect. Don't worry. So I just pulled up the collectible system again. I haven't done anything else. Basically, I want to display the maximum amount on the field. So got it. It's time to talk about... No, it isn't. Because we're going to do this first. Data item. And on construction, set data item. We want to use our data item component because we can grab all the data items. Data item. From a system call. So we'll make sure we add the data item component to our collectible so that we can set the type of data item. And then on this, we will say get data subsystem, which manages data items. Get items, get all items of category? Oh no, get actors by data item. So now we're going to get all the actors that have the data items that we want. And my brain is starting to go, so I will probably wrap up pretty soon here. And leave the rest for another day. But, all right. Some other high functionality stuff. So, what we're going to do is we want to be able to get basically we want to get all the collectibles of each type. So we want to get all vials, we want to get all gems, and we want to count them separately. Hence why we added the data component here to the collectible, so we can grab it here. But rather than necessarily wanting to list every single item we want to have, because maybe I want to add more, what we're going to do is we're going to go into these, and we're going to give them a category tag called collectible. No, we're going to add that. So that's going to be their category. And then I'm going to say get all items of category collectible, which will return all the data items in our project of this category, which will be those two. So for each of those, and then for each of those items, so for each collectible, we're going to get every actor that uses that collectible. Then we're going to get length, and that'll be our max. And then we're going to say max amount. Or add the max amount for this item will be right there. Now, providing this works, which it didn't, because we need to set it up in the widget. Back to the HUD. And at the end of this, I want to do a rundown of all the blueprints in here just to show. Gosh, freaking dang it. All right, there was a... Oh, I think I know what this was. I think I tried to call an active game system where it wasn't valid. Understandable. All right. Hopefully that isn't a hard break. Don't worry, I think I know how to fix this. This is something I'm probably just going to have to figure out how to work around on my own. I probably shouldn't have opened those. All right, let's see. Blueprints, component systems, collectible. This is the one I think I wanted. Yeah, I think it was trying to do a... Was it trying to do a call? It was trying to do a system call when it wasn't allowed. So, make sure the system's actually valid first. I think that should fix it. But even if it doesn't matter, because what we're going to do now actually works from here. So we're going to say cast to data item in our... Remember, this is in our collectible widget. Get max. Find its value. And now, I think... Let's see. That didn't work. So, construct. Let's change that to a refresh as well. Why don't we? Cast to data item. This will be set max, set current. So there we go. The problem is I was setting the current to the max. So let's change that to be or to the max widget. I was setting the max amount to the current widget. What the heck? I did them backwards. Current max. Okay. Now. Dude. Okay, so it's showing our max, but it's still not showing us collecting them. There's a lot of ways we could do that. We could do the individual bind like we did here, where we said bind on, or no, it was here. Assign on, event added and removed. Or we can do something a little more pro gamer. I'm gonna kill you. All right, so I'm still referencing to have a bad reference somewhere. That's my fault. That's a human error I've made. I just now realized I don't know where the error is. So let me double check. I think I know where it is. Maybe. Base player, party. Pause. Is it pause? It's under UI. There may be a vacuum going in the background. If you can hear that, sorry, but no. Well, here's hoping. Let's go through widgets, and here's hoping I didn't screw myself. I'm getting close to the end anyway, but use blueprint. Pause. No. It's going to be in HUD. Okay, I did something in HUD that I shouldn't have. Send and restart. No, it wouldn't be in HUD because it would just be something in HUD I'm referencing. I think I know what I did. So the only thing that HUD is referencing that should do that. User widgets is the collectible, I believe. So now let's go. Let's just for now decouple this. I think that may be it. Now let's try to open up the HUD menu. There we go. All right. So that was just, I was trying to call a subsystem that didn't exist and it was crashing. It was a null property. So let's do that. Pre-construct will be design time, because this means if it's not, we'll say when it's not at design time, i.e. when it's not, when it's actually in the game. Get rid of the construct. Now I think we should have access to exploration. Yeah, there we go. All right. So back to what I was saying. What we need to do now is update it so that whenever we pick up one of these collectibles, it updates the numbers. Now, normally we could set up an event dispatcher to say, hey, whenever, like assign to say like, do the thing, whatever, when this is updated, and set up all that sort of stuff. But there's a faster way, a much faster way. What we can do is use something called global events, which are just kind of like the tag actors, but you send them globally, and they're name-based. So what we are going to do is we're going to go here and say, after we've added the asset, say global event refresh HUD. Now we are going to grab this HUD and go go where it says global event. Because normally you could do wait for global event or something like that, but this has it built in. So what we're going to do is say on refresh HUD. Do you remember how in here, or in the player command, the attributes, we have this refresh thing that runs this refresh function? Well, because this thing right here has a list of data widgets, what we can do is grab it and say refresh all entries, which will run that refresh function on all its entries. So now whenever we run that refresh the HUD, it should do this. Doot, doot, and doot. There we go. Easy as peasy. And now we've updated, and we can do all that sort of stuff. And that is a simple thing of how we did collectibles. Now let me see what else I have. I have game over. Well, we did levels. Music, save system. I at least want to get to the save system. I think I will go over music and save system, and then I'll wrap it up. Music. So music will be pretty simple. Let me make sure that OBS has desktop audio enabled, so you can actually hear it. So, music by default in Unreal is another one of those things you have to build yourself, but Omega comes built in with something called the BGM system. I'll just show you an example. See, data widget collectibles, exploration, BGM. You call out here, you have the BGM system, and you can just have some functions like play BGM, stop BGM, through fade, await. You have slots you can play it in, so maybe you'd have a music slot for battles, one for fields, one for music, and that's so like you can pause one and play another, but then you can resume where the other one was previously. Sort of stuff like that. We don't need to worry about a lot of that complication for now. We just want a simple BGM system. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to attach the BGM system to the environment, because this is kind of like our main level blueprint. So what we're going to say is on base environment, so like when it begins, when we begin the level, we'll wait half a second and then get BGM. Play BGM. We'll just play whatever our BGM we want for that level is. Let's see. Now, we don't have any BGMs created, so let's go ahead and do that. To create a new BGM, let's go into our data. BGM. Oops. BGM. For anyone who doesn't know, BGM stands for background music. Miscellaneous data assets. BGM. It's a shame that I'm probably need to wrap it up here when there's so much more stuff to go over. So many more features and stuff, but we'll say BGM level 0. So now we open up that data asset, and right here we have, like normal, we have a name we can give it, level 0. This is display name, so it may not matter. Most importantly, we have sound, and we have a loop begin time and loop end time, and that's just an easy way you can set up how you want this track to loop, which I won't worry about for now. So I have all this stuff from Juhani that I got. Let's go listen to some of it. Oh, it might be loud, so sorry if that caught some of you off guard. Let's make sure the volume is not, the audio is not up too high. Loud, calm. I don't know what to use. What's a good one? There was a good one somewhere in here. Exploration. There we go. We'll go with exploration. So now I think it should just work. If we go ahead and play. It is not working. Why not? Oh, because I haven't set it. Base environment, BGM. There we go. And music works. And it's as simple as that. And it's all built in to loop automatically. You could set up the loop bits yourself. But maybe you want to do like in Liberty Bell what I did, where when we open the pause menu, it pauses. Let's just say pause menu. BGM. Do I have a pause? No, I have stop. I'm going to fade. But we can say... Nope, I did not mean to do that. Resume. Pause. Play BGM. You can say... where is it? Get... I think I just found an incomplete element to this. Alright, let me make a note of that. I don't have an ability to reference the currently playing BGM. I was going to say, that's how you do that here. I need to set up a proper pause thing. Yeah, thank you very much, Wyatt, for saying... Wyatt says, greatly appreciate your hard work. Very useful for learning. We'll definitely be checking this out in detail. Thank you very much. That makes me very happy to hear. I very much appreciate it. That is not what did I just load? Oh, nice pages. I accidentally clicked on nice pages. That's okay. But yeah, I just found a flaw with the BGM system. Well, you can stop it. You probably just need to find a way. I need to add a way to reference the currently playing BGM, but you can do that. In fact, let's do this instead. You will say fade 0.5, async fade 0.5, and we'll transition. Also make sure that when we start this, set visibility, we want to hide the HUD. So this is the entire pause menu right here. So that didn't fade. Well, the pause menu might be bugged. Or the BGM might be slightly bugged. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, well. Oh, wait, no, because I set the wrong target alpha. Right, you need to set the target alpha to that. There we go. It works after all. I'll see you, SquarePeg. We're about to wrap up pretty soon here anyway, but thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it and got a lot of useful information. All right. So that's BGM. Oh, and the settings for that are right in here. It's a little bit a work in progress still, but it's there. Lastly, what did I want to go over? Music saving. All right. This is the big one, isn't it? Now we've got all this crap, and we want to be able to save it. Well, let's go ahead and do that. I don't know if there's much to save so far, though. All right, so just for example, we'll save the amount of collectibles we have. Oh, actually, this is a good time to go over actor state as well. So, actor state. No, we won't. We won't do that. All right, I'll just go over the basics of saving now, and then maybe next time we can go more into detail. Yeah, we'll keep it simple for right now. All right. Let's say, we'll have to keep it very basic for right now. But all right, menu, save, and we'll have a data widget called data widget save. Overlay, the big old pretty button here, and content in the button. Date. The date will be for when the game was saved. So let's go ahead here and say save. I think it's Orion. No. Omega save. Omega save game. That's what we're gonna get. Because the way it's gonna work is each one of these is going to be a slot. In fact, let's back up. Let's back up first to show this. We're gonna have this menu here. Give me just a second. All right. Dun, 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 dun. 2.5 hours. Okay. Slot save. There we go. And we'll just have 3 saves. Although we're not going to be like this necessarily. No. There we go. 3 save slots. And the way it's going to work is we are going to actually. No, yeah, we'll do it this way. We'll grab our save game because each one of these is going to be a save game that we have saved, and we'll say if it's valid. Actually, let's do this. Wrap this in a horizontal box. Wrap it in a widget switcher. Say no save. So if this is invalid, this is not a valid save, we will say set index. No. Wrong one. Set index. All right. I might need to just go into depth on saving another time, but we'll at least get the basics down. Otherwise, get date. By default, Omega automatically, whenever you create a new save game, it records the date. So, set date and time. Okay. And from here, we will say on this for each loop. No, we're going to do a for loop because we're just going to create 3 slots. So do get save subsystem, and we're going to say load game. It should be get game, not load game, but that's what it is because essentially it's what it is. Just get it from that slot. If it's a valid save, important thing. We want to clear the list first, so make sure there's no extra children in there. No extra entries. We're going to say add child or add asset. Yeah, add asset to list if it's valid. And that, we're just going to add the save game to the list, which will make it its source asset. And if not, we'll just add a custom asset. We don't need to worry about anything else for it. It's just going to be a generic empty slot, pretty much. Excuse me. Let's see. Data widget. So I wanted get button widget. Let's connect our button up here. This allows us to select this entry. And when it is selected, we're back onto the menu. We want to first do a check. And this is the reason we have things here like tag or flags inside of menus. So we can do something, we can save out the flag and decide if this is a save or a load flag. So we can actually reuse this menu for both saving and loading and just change what some of the stuff does. So let's say switch on. Oops. Save, and a load. And let's actually make this a macro so we can reuse it. Switch, save, load. Alrighty. So, in this case, we're going to say if it's a save game, and we've selected a save entry, cast to save game. No, cast to Omega save, because we want to reference the asset that's on the entry we selected. Like that, like so. If it's a load game, we are going to... First, let's worry about saving games. Save game. Save active game. We are going to save our current game to... let's see. This game... Yeah, because we're doing it by entry. So we're going to use the index. Which index here? Reference its index in this list. Which will be whatever index we put it in here. So we're going to save our current game, whatever it is, to that slot, because that'll be the slot we picked. Then let us refresh all entries. Once again, go back and make sure we're using the refresh function. Which refresh will also be used when you first add stuff to lists, so... And change the source asset. All right. And then let's even play a little sound. Why don't we? Just so we know it worked. Play sound 2D. That's a good one. Close 3. So if we're in saving mode, we'll automatically save it there and refresh the list. And if we're in loading mode, what we're going to do, well, we'll do the saving one first. So let's go to our pause menu. And there's another neat thing about using the menus is that you can open menus within menus. So for example, when I hit save here, what we're going to do is go open menu. In fact, I'm going to make this an event called open submenu. So for in the future, we could have more submenus in the pause menu. Menu class, open submenu. In this case, it'll be save. When we do that, we are going to set visibility here to collapsed. And let's see, when we close it, we want to set visibility back. And we're also going to do one more thing. We're going to, or actually, self only. We're also, when we close out the save menu and go back to the pause menu, we're going to say set control to this widget. And that'll essentially return our keyboard control onto this widget. So if we ever want to use keyboard stuff, we wouldn't be sending both keyboard commands to 2 widgets at the same time. We could focus on one. So that is what we will do. So now if I do that, escape, save. All right. And let me think. All right. Hang on. We only want to do this Omega save check on a... Yeah, on a load game. On a save game, we just want to overwrite the save no matter what. So now... Save. Boom. Nope. What happened? Why didn't it work? Maybe it is working. Oh, right. You know why? Because remember how we set up this flag so we can determine whether it's a save or load? We need to put that flag in. Let's go back to the pause menu and say open flag, save. And now save menu. Yep. You heard the thing happen. It didn't refresh the entry though. Ah, but of course, I've set this up slightly wrong. We don't want to reference... Yeah, we don't want to do this. My bad. What we want to do is this. We just want to create a custom entry regardless. And then in the entry, we will check and see if it's a valid game. And that'll be actually be up here, index. Hang on, look at that back. And of course, make sure before we don't break anything or crash the engine, we want to do a quick double check to make sure that we are doing this on design time, because otherwise it will probably crash the engine again. So, on the refresh, we check and see what index this has for a save game. If there's no valid save in that slot, then switch it to the widget that says no valid save. And look at that. That's all the code we have for this. And that's all the code we have for this. And we got a save system working. And that's all the code for our pause menu. Now you compare that and look at that. We have some events, like one custom event. For the most part, we have like no custom events or functions. It's all pre-existing stuff and very few custom variables. That's what, again, one of the points of Omega is really reducing the amount of all that stuff. Some stuff just works right out of the box. So let's see. Let's try this one more time. All of that worked. Let me go ahead and delete those saves, because I want to show how this would work normally. Save games. Delete. So now I think it should work. It didn't update though. I mean, if I go back out and in, it should. But it's applying it to all of them. Why? Oh, wait. Let's refresh again after this. That may be it. Refresh. It's not showing, but okay, there we go. Now it appears. Now we just need to make sure it updates at real time, runtime. So let's see. Save. Yeah, on a refresh. Let's delay it a tick. How about that? See if that helps it. So now we've saved to the active game. Now we're refreshing it. And it's still maintaining the index, so it should just check and see if that new slot is valid. Which it should be. Oh, I know why, I think. Let's have a momentary wait, why don't we? I know why. I think it's because it's creating the screenshot. Delay. I know exactly what it is. Here's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is this. Just do a check. Is it a check? While. It's like an advanced while loop, because we don't want a while loop because that'll do every tick. So instead, we're gonna say, hey, say or load game. We want to check and see if said slot is a valid game. If it's a while like this, so we're gonna go, is it a success? Is that a loaded game? If not, then we're gonna delay. How about 0.1 and then try again? And because it's not a while, it won't be an infinite loop, but it should still work. It did not work. Why isn't it updating? Oh, I'm dumb. Because we set the active widget. It was working before. I set this to this, but I forgot to set it back when it's valid. Let's get rid of that crap. Connect this up again. This is my favorite thing, when I realized, oh, I already was doing it right. Or like, I didn't need to make things more complicated. All right, escape, save. Yeah, there we go. Updates in real time. Now the last thing is we need to be able to close out of that save menu. So now we're here. Let's just add in input cancel to close menu. And once again, once we close menu, we should head back to the pause menu and restore control there. So save. Why is it not working? All right. I had to restore control here as well. Make sure we delete all our existing save files so we can try again. And there we go. Resume save. Ta-da! And last thing we'll do there is make sure we can actually load it from the title screen. We'll go to title screen. Once again, we'll just kind of copy the code. Yeah, copy this. Where is it? Tiny bit of code. Very tiny bit of code. And paste it here. And say open submenu for save. But this time, we're going to give it the load flag. So now from the title screen. Hopefully my voice is okay. I know I've been told my voice gets bad when I go too far from the mic. So load game. And if I go hit exit or back, nothing happens. Don't know why. All right. You know what? I think I have a close. I have a default close menu button. I'm just going to use that. This is just a convenient button I added that'll automatically try to close the first parent menu it finds. So we will set this at an overlay of 100 now. I'm going to say close menu 50 or 20 doot. All right. So if I hit that, go back. Last thing. Save menu. All right. When we do a load, we check and see if it's a valid game. Load game. And if it is, all we're going to do, I think, if I'm remembering how this was coded right, because it's been a while since I've done that. You only kind of set up a save system once, then you forget about it. We do start game from the subsystem. We're going to do load saved level, because by default, what happens is whatever level you're in gets recorded in the save game. So you can automatically reload and respawn into that level. And you can even respawn into the location you were at, though I don't remember if that's toggleable or not. So we're going to do load game. Oh, 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 oh. So it was doing something I don't think it was supposed to. That may be another bug. Load game. It's loading into the wrong map afterwards. I don't know why. Well, you know what? Let's just go. There's more stuff I wanted to show you with saving anyway. So for now, let's just kind of call saving good and loading's a bust. And we will, excuse me, work on that later. I think that will have to be all for today. I just want to do a quick review and show, like, I'm going to show everything, all the blueprints. Those are widget blueprints. These are all the blueprints that I have right now in my game. And let's even run through each of them and see the code on them, because this is what I really want to emphasize with. Actually, oops. I want to emphasize just how much smaller the code you need to do is, how many few variables you need, and how efficient it is. So this is all the variables in my project, and it's not everything. We do get a lot more, obviously, with more features, but we have a decent amount done. This is one ancillary component. This is the entire load system. The level system doesn't even have anything. This is the entire exploration system. This is the collectibles, just that. Nothing in main, nothing in that. Floor switches, just that. Can even get rid of that extra stuff. That's the entirety of the door system. That's the entirety of collectibles, and you kind of get the point. It's like Omega has added many more functions, components, and features that you can do so many things with just a very few, very small number of function calls. The abilities are the most complicated, and that's still it. So yeah, that's obviously I didn't get nearly as much as I would say maybe a little more than half of what I wanted to do, though some of it's a bit simpler. But that's at least, hopefully, will give you a good overview of how I go about using Omega to make my games, how it speeds up my process, and maybe help you understand how to use a lot of the various features and systems that come with it. I will need to do a double check to make sure everything in this project is publicly available, is CCO, and if it is, then I think I will be uploading this project to GitHub as an open source project that any of you can download and check out how it's structured and how it's made. And I will probably, I think just because of what we got through, I will probably do another episode of this at some point, at least one more, and covering more features. And of course, once again, documentation is up. And then to wrap up, the next devlog for Circle of Orion, I am working on it. It should hopefully be out next week. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming by and watching and sticking around with me this long. I very much always enjoy doing these streams, even though they are exhausting, but they're a very good time. And I'm once again, whenever someone is like, talks about how much Omega has helped them, that's the best type stuff for me to hear. And so I want to make sure people understand how to use it so they can get the most use out of it. And that's all I have. So I will see you guys later.